For years, Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson have been one of Genoa City's most complicated couples. They've survived betrayals, heartbreak, separations, reunions, family wars, and enough emotional baggage to fill an entire Newman jet. Yet somehow, they always seem to find their way back to each other. Now fans are asking a question that could completely change their future. Should Adam and Chelsea have another baby? At first glance, the answer seems obvious. They're rebuilding their relationship. They're co-parenting Connor better than ever. They're more mature than they've been in years. But when you look beneath the surface, the situation becomes far more complicated. Because another child wouldn't simply be a blessing. It could become the ultimate test of whether Adam and Chelsea have truly changed, or whether they're destined to repeat the same mistakes all over again. #Should Y&R's Adam and Chelsea have another baby? The answer isn't simple. Among all the couples currently on The Young and the Restless, few have experienced a journey as turbulent as Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson. Their love story has never followed a straight line. Instead, it has been defined by chaos. They've hurt each other, they've protected each other, they've disappointed each other, and perhaps most importantly, they've repeatedly found reasons to return to one another despite overwhelming obstacles. That complicated history is precisely why the idea of Adam and Chelsea having another baby generates such strong reactions among viewers. On paper, it sounds like a natural next step. In reality, it may be one of the most complicated decisions either character could make. The answer isn't as simple as yes or no. It's buried beneath years of emotional history, personal growth, and unresolved questions about who Adam and Chelsea really are when the pressure becomes overwhelming. Why another baby makes sense. Let's start with the obvious argument. There are legitimate reasons why another child could feel like a natural evolution of their story. Adam and Chelsea share a unique bond through Connor. Regardless of their romantic ups and downs, they've repeatedly demonstrated a commitment to their son. Their shared concern for Connor often becomes the bridge that reconnects them when everything else falls apart. Parenthood represents one of the few areas where Adam and Chelsea frequently find common ground. Over the years, viewers have watched both characters grow significantly through their experiences as parents. Adam, in particular, has often revealed his most compassionate side when interacting with Connor. The ruthless businessman disappears. The Newman family drama fades. The schemer takes a back seat. What's left is a father trying to do better. Chelsea has undergone a similar transformation. Many of her most meaningful storylines have revolved around protecting her child and creating stability in an otherwise chaotic world. A second baby could symbolize hope, a fresh start, a new chapter, and soap operas have always loved symbolic storytelling. From that perspective, the idea makes perfect sense. The problem with using babies as relationship glue. However, soap opera history provides an important warning. Babies don't fix relationships. In fact, they often expose weaknesses that couples have been avoiding. This is where the discussion becomes far more interesting. Adam and Chelsea may currently appear stronger than ever, but appearances can be deceptive. The biggest question isn't whether they love each other. The biggest question is whether they fully address the issues that repeatedly drove them apart. Trust remains a major concern. Communication has historically been inconsistent. Outside influences continue creating complications. And let's be honest, Adam Newman rarely enjoys long periods of stability. The moment life becomes peaceful, chaos somehow finds him. Adding another child into that environment could create additional pressure rather than additional happiness. A baby magnifies everything. Love becomes stronger. Stress becomes stronger. Fear becomes stronger. Conflict becomes stronger. That's why this storyline would carry enormous dramatic potential. Adam's growth is real, but is it permanent? One of the most fascinating aspects of Adam's recent development is the apparent maturity he's displayed. Compared to previous versions of himself, today's Adam often appears calmer, more reflective, less impulsive, more focused on family. These changes have allowed many viewers to reconnect with the character. For years, Adam seemed trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage. Every step forward was followed by 2 steps backward. every opportunity for happiness eventually collapsed. Recently, however, there have been signs of genuine evolution. The question is whether that evolution has truly become permanent. That's not criticism, it's reality. People change gradually. Growth isn't linear. Old habits don't disappear overnight. A second child would test Adam in ways he's never experienced before. It would demand consistency, patience, reliability, emotional stability. Those requirements aren't impossible, but they would reveal whether Adam's transformation is sustainable. Chelsea may be the bigger question. Ironically, many discussions focus primarily on Adam, but Chelsea's readiness deserves equal attention. Chelsea has endured tremendous emotional challenges throughout her time in Genoa City. Losses, betrayals, mental health struggles, relationship disappointments. Each experience left lasting marks. To her credit, Chelsea has shown remarkable resilience. She's fought hard to rebuild her life. She's worked to establish healthier relationships. She's become more self-aware. Yet another baby would dramatically alter that progress. Parenthood brings joy. It also brings responsibility. Sleep deprivation, stress, anxiety, constant demands. For someone who has fought difficult personal battles, those pressures deserve careful consideration. The issue isn't whether Chelsea could handle it. She absolutely could. The issue is whether introducing another major life change represents the healthiest path forward. Connor changes everything. One reason this debate remains so complex is Connor's role. Any decision involving another child would inevitably affect him. Connor has already experienced significant family changes throughout his life. He's watched relationships begin and end. He's witnessed emotional struggles within his family. He's adapted to evolving circumstances again and again. A sibling could provide companionship, support, a stronger family unit, but it could also introduce new dynamics. Attention would shift, responsibilities would change, family priorities would evolve. Good storytelling requires acknowledging these realities. Too often, soap operas treat babies as plot devices rather than family members. The strongest version of this storyline would explore Connor's perspective as well, because he remains at the center of Adam and Chelsea's world. The Newman factor cannot be ignored. No discussion about Adam's future is complete without mentioning the Newman family, specifically Victor Newman. Victor's influence extends into nearly every aspect of Adam's life, sometimes beneficially, sometimes destructively, often both. A new baby would instantly become part of the Newman orbit. That means family expectations, family conflicts, family interference, family drama. The idea of Adam and Chelsea raising another child sounds wonderful in isolation. Unfortunately, Genoa City rarely operates in isolation. External pressures would inevitably emerge. Victor would have opinions. Other family members would react. Old rivalries could intensify. Suddenly, a private family decision becomes public business. That's the reality of being a Newman. Why fans are divided. The audience remains split because both sides make compelling arguments. Supporters see opportunity, they see growth, they see redemption, they see two people finally finding happiness after years of struggle. A baby represents optimism, a future worth building, proof that love survived impossible odds. Critics see risk, they see unresolved issues, they see emotional baggage, they see a couple whose history remains filled with warning signs. A baby represents pressure, complications, potential heartbreak. Neither perspective is unreasonable. That's what makes the debate so engaging. There isn't an obvious answer. Storytelling potential matters too. From a narrative standpoint, another baby would create enormous possibilities. Soap operas thrive on family stories, generational conflicts, unexpected challenges, protective instincts, relationship tests. A pregnancy storyline would immediately generate emotional investment. Viewers would celebrate, viewers would worry, viewers would speculate endlessly. The challenge would be execution. If handled thoughtfully, the story could deepen both characters. If handled poorly, it could feel like a temporary plot device. The best Y&R stories emerge from character-driven conflict rather than manufactured drama. Any baby storyline would need to respect that principle. Perhaps the timing isn't right. An argument rarely discussed involves timing. Maybe the question isn't whether Adam and Chelsea should have another child. Maybe the question is whether they should have one right now. Those are very different conversations. Their relationship appears stronger. But stronger doesn't necessarily mean fully established. Trust continues developing. Communication continues improving. Life remains unpredictable. Perhaps the most mature decision would be allowing that foundation to strengthen further before taking such a significant step. Patience isn't exciting television, but it often reflects real emotional growth. For characters who have spent years making impulsive decisions, waiting could represent their biggest sign of maturity. The heart wants one answer. The head wants another. Emotionally, it's easy to support the idea. Fans love seeing beloved characters happy. They love seeing families grow. They love witnessing hope triumph over adversity. Adam and Chelsea have certainly earned moments of happiness, but emotionally satisfying choices aren't always the wisest choices. Logic raises concerns. History raises concerns. Practical reality raises concerns. That's where the conflict exists. The heart sees possibility, the head sees complications, and both perspectives contain truth. Final verdict. So should Adam and Chelsea have another baby? The answer truly isn't simple. If the question is whether they would love another child, the answer is undoubtedly yes. If the question is whether they have grown as individuals, the answer appears to be yes. If the question is whether a baby could bring joy into their lives, the answer is certainly yes. But if the question is whether another child automatically solves their problems, strengthens their relationship, or guarantees a happy future, the answer becomes much more complicated. Babies don't create stability. Stable relationships create healthy environments for babies. That's an important distinction. For Adam and Chelsea, the most encouraging development isn't the possibility of another child. It's the possibility that they finally learned from their past. If that growth continues, a bigger family could eventually make perfect sense. If old patterns return, however, another baby could simply magnify existing issues. That's why the debate remains so fascinating. Not because fans disagree about babies, because fans disagree about whether Adam and Chelsea have truly become the people they've been trying to be for years. And until that question is fully answered, the future of this beloved couple remains one of Genoa City's most intriguing mysteries.